I was reading somewhere, and they were saying that sometimes actually the causes of that depression in men is actually seeing their wives depressed.
So, if you watched the last video, I promised that we'd have a postpartum version from my husband, from the man's side. How is postpartum for them? We always talk about the postpartum period for the mom, but what about the men? How does it feel to see your wife in labor or going to theater and seeing her healing through that process, breastfeeding or trying to soothe the baby? And sometimes she does her best and she has reached her end, and then now it's the man's turn to try, but you don't have boobs. Your boobs are useless. So how is the postpartum period for the man? Babe, tell us.
Well,
Start from labor. Oh, also we have a guest on set.
yeah.
He's right here in his car seat. Yeah, so tell us, baby, from labor, how does it feel to see the person you love in pain, the healing and all that? What is it like for the men? What goes through your mind?
Well, I'll speak for myself. Here's what I know, what I've come to learn. And I think we have to come to terms with the fact that when you get a child as a man, there's just a switch that happens. So I believe, okay, yes, there's labor, but I think, honestly, there's so many things that go through my mind when
I'm in labor.
When you tell me I missed my period, or I think I'm pregnant. Like, it's like something has just hit your head with a hammer. Like
Life
your
has
brain.
changed.
Yeah, like just everything has just, say you're flying straight to, say, Los Angeles, somehow just some huge wind comes and blows you direct back to China or something. So I think labor is like now the climax, let's say. But there's so much that goes on through my head, especially, okay, now that this is the third child, maybe not
Not so
as
much.
it was, but from the
first?
the first child, it was like, okay, so I am actually, I actually am not important.
I can have kids.
I actually can have kids.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually might have someone who looks like me. Wait, I am actually going to be in charge of this person for so many years. For life. I think also there's the anxiety of now attention is no longer going to be just mine.
Yeah.
So there's this child that's coming. What do I do? So yeah, there's just so much going on. And so labor to me is like the climax. When labor happened for us, the first child, I was filled with excitement because now the child that we had seen in the scan was finally coming physically. And then on top of that, the child that I think might look like me was also coming to meet me. So there were so many expectations. So yeah, the person that is in pain, honestly, it can get annoying, I think, because
For me or for you?
For me, because I don't know how much pain you are in, and yet the doctors and nurses keep saying, don't shout, don't scream, keep calm.
Yeah.
Don't just, please, they don't even say please. Daisy, no, wait, Daisy, don't move, don't move.
That push,
Why are you pushing? Then they just keep jabbing you with all these injections, needles, and so I'm asking myself, okay, how am I going to
How do I help?
see this person again after birth. But it's just like the way as a mother, this whole pain disappears when the child is eventually born. The whole mindset just jumps and switches to exceeding joy, where you have tears of joy actually when the child is born. Yeah. Unfortunately or fortunately, my wife, you didn't cry. You probably mostly mourned. Mourned like
during labor?
Yeah, during labor. So
you can't cry.
Yeah.
You can't cry during labor.
So it's difficult for me to.
Yeah.
Okay, that's me. It's difficult for me to cry when I'm not seeing you crying. So.
But babe, you cried with her first.
Even the second, even the third. But after, like when the child is born, you're like, oh, wow, like it's because there is so much tension when the child is. And I remember the first one, there was that worry of, okay, do we need to go to theater? And then you said yes, let's go to theater. And then
I was just
you're trying to push this child. You're having all these labor pains, but the child is just not coming.
Yeah.
So I was also thinking when. Yeah. So that's kind of.
And then the after, when the baby's out, like what emotions do men go through? Things that we might not understand or might not even realize that men are struggling with. Okay.
Now, I spoke about that a little bit at the beginning, and I think I've come to terms to this with the fact that the moment you get a child as a man, your life has to change. Now, coming to terms with that fact is where the problem is. Yeah, because your wife will conceive, or your girlfriend, your partner might conceive, and okay, she's pregnant. You're scared, but then somehow you don't get it yet. It doesn't sink in. But when you see the child, instantly there's just something that changes about you. And I think it's just a natural thing. Even animals are the same, except a few. There are some, those non-pets, something has to shift in your mind as a man. Now, I think the problem comes in with coming to terms with that fact, because you still want to go and say play video games. You still want to go and say watch football or go out with friends, but somehow when you tell your wife you're going to do that, she gives you a look that you will never get out of your mind, and you somehow have to stay. So there's so many changes that happen so quickly when the child is born. Before the child is born, there's still time. After the child is born,
time up.
Yeah.
We've had a lot about postpartum depression, but from the woman's perspective. And recently I also heard about postpartum anxiety. So do you think that men go through any of these mental challenges where they feel sad and can't explain it, or anxious? Like I was telling you the other day that one of my biggest fears is like a blanket being over the baby's face, baby's nose, and we don't know. So are there any of those things that worry you guys, or the inability to provide for your child? Does it affect men?
Yeah, it's an unspoken feeling. And I think a lot of times it comes and is just we sort of blank it out of ourselves, because we imagine you're a man, this is your responsibility, you need to do what it takes to be to be the provider, to be a present father and all that. But I think I was reading somewhere, and they were saying that sometimes actually the causes of that depression in men is actually seeing their wives depressed. So you get depressed because your
your wife is depressed.
Your wife is losing weight, maybe she's losing hair, or she no longer is interested in being intimate with you. There's so much that is going on in her life. You feel like there's no connection between the two of you. There's something I read as well, that that shift that I'm talking about, it also happens to men in a way that when the child is born, you also have some kind of hormonal change. So you have like less testosterone as a man. Yeah. So somehow you might not be as interested in being intimate with your wife at that point. But being men, I think the hormone just regenerates itself very fast. Unfortunately, most people have to wait at least 6 weeks. And for some men it can be quite depressing, especially if before birth you wouldn't miss a week, right? Yeah. So there are so many causes of this thing, but yes, I must acknowledge, and for the first child I didn't, honestly, but I think when you have more than one child, it's more prominent, it's
easier,
it's more you're
more prone to it.
Yeah. Yeah, because now your wife has a child that she has to nurture, but also now the second child is running to you, or you as the man,
the older child.
Yeah. And also, we as human beings, let's talk about human beings generally. We have a certain sleep pattern or certain sleep hours. Now, as men, it's difficult for a man to change his sleep hours to say, even if you say you sleep only 2 hours and all that, that's okay. But to waking up from sweet sleep because you need to pull out a child and just burp them, or just walk around with them until they sleep. Now, I think as men, we are strong, we can walk, we have strong legs, we have muscles, some of us, but getting out of deep sleep to walk around just to make sure the baby sleeps, you can actually fall. I can count the number of times I've almost fallen because I'm walking while sleeping. So now when the day starts, the sun rises and you have also other work to do, you ask yourself, but okay, yeah, you can ask yourself sometimes, what was I thinking to get into this? Because of course God is the one who knows the perfect time, the perfect day, and all that. But sometimes you can ask yourself,
were we ready?
Were we ready?
Yeah.
So I personally, yes, I think I experienced that. I don't know whether it was depression, but you feel like you are overwhelmed as a man as well, especially when it's your child number 2 or child number 3. However, let me say this quickly. I don't know how much more time we have, but one of the things that has really, really helped me as a father is just that quiet time alone, either when the kids are sleeping or
before they wake up.
Before they wake up, or say I have something to do out of home, I work away from home, just to give myself, say, an hour or 2 just to do nothing, maybe music or study the Word of God or something. It is one of the most priceless moments during the day, just to relax, chill,
pour into yourself.
Yes, and just listen from above.
Mm.
Secondly, also, one of the things that has kept me going is having that friend that you just talk about other things. You may not necessarily be out of home. You may not necessarily be out of home. You may not necessarily go out, say, but it really depends on the dynamics. For us, he probably comes home to visit, or we meet.
Spends the night over.
We meet somewhere and just talk, or we take trips together. When I say trips, I mean like town to home or something like that.
Yeah,
and just talk in the car. And that is something that has also kept me sane. And I think if you are a loner as a man, it's going to be very difficult for you to stay sane, because there are moments when I've realized Daisy's overwhelmed, but she doesn't know how to express it. And so I might struggle because I feel like she's talking to me like I'm the maid, okay? Or I'm the
help
assistant, and yet, I'm I, as a man, you usually have that inner thought, I'm a what?
I'm a man.
I'm a man, I need some respect, I need some, talk to me nicely. Why are you talking
Talk to me correct.
Talk to me correctly. How can you be so rude? And yet she's also going through something. And so sometimes we get the worry that, hey man, is this how life is going to be
for the rest of our marriage?
Yeah, and I think also that is something that affects marriage.
Many men, yeah.
Marriage, because people settle at that point, and yet the woman is actually going through also her emotions. So it can also depress the man. But these two things have really helped me. Just that quiet time to listen, study the Word of God, because all these things are there, by the way, in the Word of God.
Yeah.
And then just that person, that friend or group of friends, a support group. It can also be your family, where maybe they frequently come over to see you, or they host you, and you just have your moment to yourself. So yes, if it's a necessary evil, but I think it has helped us, especially after the second child, to have actually a paid nanny to just help with the children. I think it also helps with me, because then Daisy stops demanding me for so much. Not that I'm unavailable, but
there's work to be done. Like we have to work and make money. So as much as you're needed, there are times where you will not be able to be there.
Yeah. So for example, well, it's just the two of us in the house, and I said, babe, why aren't you showering the kids? Why aren't you feeding them their dinner? Why aren't you? We did that with the first child, but
he was just one, but now there are three babies, and we're only two, and there's only so much that we can do. So to alleviate that stress, we got paid
a paid nanny.
So what advice would you give to any dad to be, or anyone that's just navigating this newborn phase? Just tips that you would give them, like as a dad of three.
Okay. You're making me sound like I'm an expert.
No one is an expert.
One of the things that has worked for me, it's difficult, but it works. You have to know that your wife is not herself from the point of conception to the point until the child is maybe 2 months old or 3 months old. 2 months old, 8 weeks. 8 to 10 weeks old. Usually there's so much going on in her life, in her mind, in her hormones. So sometimes she might abuse you. She might think that you're crazy. She might think you're so unsupportive. She might think you are so selfish. You only want to buy things for yourself. she might say you are an absent father, you are unserious, and you are so lazy. You just love to sleep, you love to be on your phone, and you love your TV so much that you don't care about the family. And yet, you actually do. And yet, just 18 hours ago, you are the one who was sitting, taking the kids to school, maybe changing their diapers, or maybe, yes, as an upcoming father, expect some of that stuff. But the best thing to do is to just keep your mouth shut. When I say keep your mouth shut, I'm not saying don't hold the beef in. I'm not saying hold the beef in or say nothing, but don't shoot back with really.
Retaliate with words.
And you think that you sleeping all day makes me happy, or, you know, what have you done for us? You know, I'm the one who's paying all the bills and not. No, just keep your mouth shut. Just relax, walk away, try to find peace. Find that one thing that distracts you from what she just said. Yeah. That's the most important thing. Yeah.
I think also to be patient, knowing that this phase will pass, this season will pass, and know that the person going through whatever she's going through loves you.
Yeah.
And you love this person. So whatever you do in love. You serve in love, whether or not it's being reciprocated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's all.
Yeah. So I think this is a video that you should share with your partner, your husband, and also hear them out. Maybe this will be a conversation starter for couples as well. Because sometimes you don't have the right words to say, but maybe after listening to this, you can ask your partner, how does it feel for you postpartum? Do men also struggle? So you hear him out and see how he struggles and how you can support him.
Yeah, and maybe for the mothers also, help us. Just acknowledge his support whenever he gives us support. I think it's...
No matter how little.
No matter how little, acknowledge his support. Say, thank you for the diapers. Thank you for buying this milk, or thank you for being there. Hey, you woke up once last night, and you were awake for 5 minutes after that. I mean, make it more interesting than just complaining how it is. Then I think most men feed on compliments. So more of that affirmation would really help with their mind. So you find that maybe next time he might even get a day off just to
do more of that, so he can get more of that. Yeah. Thank you, babe, for sharing your postpartum experience.
The little that I know.
Okay, guys, thanks for watching this video, if you made it to the end. And I was looking at our stats the other day, and I found that 56% of the people who watch our content are not subscribed. Please subscribe. It supports our channel, and it means so much to us when you do. Subscribe, comment, share your postpartum experience. If you're a man watching this, share your experience. If you're a woman and you notice that your husband struggled during the postpartum period, let us know how. Let us learn from each other. Share this video, like it, and see you in the